All right, let's see if we can get up.
We're live, Judge.
All right. Steve, you up? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, June 16th, 2025. We're here for a special session in the Hunt County Commissioners Court. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order, and everybody rise as I lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags. Our Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for all the blessings that you give us and for protecting us in our communities. And Lord, we just ask you to be a blessing across this nation as we're having struggles throughout many of our cities, and bring peace and all to the people that are involved in those. And Lord, also think about the activities going on in the Mideast, and we just pray you have your will in that endeavor. And Father, we just ask you now to give us the mindset and the heart to do the things that are right for the citizens of Hunt County. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, everyone. We have Commissioner Hutchins, Monroe, Smith, and Harrison present today. I'm Judge Stovall presiding over the meeting. Commissioners, we don't have any minutes today. We'll have public testimony. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The Commissioners Court cannot take action on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Concerns will be addressed by county staff. They may be placed on a future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. Does anybody wish to speak today? Being none, I'll close the public testimony. Commissioners, under old business, action item A, 1, to discuss and possibly take action on new dental and vision rate coverage in companies for FY 25-26. Commissioners, we looked at this last time, gave you a little time to study it. I think the recommendation we were talking about is going to Pacific Life and raising the amount paid to $3,000 per person for dental coverage, and that was going to change it was going to increase our participation just a few dollars. Anybody got any questions or thoughts on it? I'd entertain a motion to approve the new Pacific Life. Oh, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Don't forget, you have to also vote on changing to Pacific Life. It's not on here, but it was in your original packet.
Okay.
The rates are not changing at all.
Okay.
We just will switch to the new company.
So that's the total benefit of dental and vision. Okay.
Sandy, just to make sure, when would this take effect?
October 1st.
Okay.
Sandy, what were there other alternatives that we looked at?
Everything else that we did look at was going to be a lot higher. For the 3,000 that we did look at, it was going to be like 50-something for the county pay, and then for the individual, it was not going to be like a family package like we had. It was going to be employee plus spouse, employee plus children, and then a family. And it was going to be a lot more expensive.
So this one on our current, we're paying, it's going to be, if we renew with them, it's going to be $41.84. And then if we go with the new Pacific Life, it's going to give us double coverage, going up to 3,000 instead of 15, and then it's going to be 39.13 per month. So we're getting more coverage, and then the price is going down.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval of the Pacific Life Dental and Vision. Is it a Pacific Life Vision also? In dental and vision.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Consent calendar is none. Action items under B. We have no payables, no.
No, we do.
We do?
Yeah, we have one Mary gave us.
Oh, okay. Entertain a motion for approval of payables.
Move to approve payables.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No transfers or budget amendments? Okay. Commissioners, we got approval of payroll and personnel, but we need to discuss that first. I think we had one handed out to us this morning. And Daniel, can we approve that one and then talk about the other one before we approve it, or I have to approve them all at the same time?
No, you can do them at different times.
Okay.
I don't have the other one in my personal case.
On the one you turned in this morning?
That's the only one I turned in, because I didn't know if you were going to be voting on the other one.
Well, we are, but it's under 3, we're going to be talking about that position. So you're suggesting we wait till that to hire that person? Okay. And then the one you gave us this morning, though, we can vote on. Correct. All right, Commissioners. Did y'all get the chance to look at that? It's for a part-time RN at the health clinic. Entertain a motion for approval of that one.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 1, discuss and possibly take action on driver's license lease. Commissioner, this is just really for information purposes. That lease is not up for a little over a year, but the state, of course, is the one that's leasing it. They like to start their negotiations 8 months to 12 months out, and we're right at that time frame. They were asking in the email that they sent me was to leave it the same as it currently is, and I think they should have got all of the improvements paid, because they were reimbursing us for the improvements by the end of the lease. So in another year, those will all be paid off, but they wanted us to put in there that we would repaint the space as needed and without going up on their rates. I haven't had a chance, just got that last week, late in the week, hadn't had a chance to look around and see what other rates are doing, but inflation and the way you hear rates out in the market, we should be able to go up a little bit anyway. I don't know, Daniel, would it be proper to us just at a meeting in the near future, give you a recommendation of what to get it started with?
Yeah, there's no legal reason you can't go up on the rate.
Right.
Obviously, space costs more than it did
Yep.
2.5 years ago.
Right. And if they're gonna have us paint it, that means we get less and we're not making as much money as we were because inflation is eating into our lease, so.
Can we ask them to define paint as needed?
Yeah,
I mean,
We could,
I don't know if you'll get anything.
when we ask them to define terms like that, we'll get 7 pages sometimes. Sometimes it's better to not have it defined.
yeah, because I can paint behind the wall of the receptionist over there, or I can paint the whole facility. It's a little different, right?
Yeah, usually I put comma within the county's discretion.
Okay. Yeah, as long as we have some position to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Anyway, if anybody wants to walk through over there and see what that looks like, and all as we discuss it, we can bring it back to a future date. I just wanted to make y'all aware that has started up in the last week, and we need to put a little thought into it and decide what we want to do.
Well, the state likes to pass costs down to us so we can pass it back to them on this.
I like that, Commissioner. All right, we don't need any action on that. So number 2 is discuss working with Encore on widening county road right-of-ways. Larry?
Yes, sir. First, thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for the opportunity to get up and visit with you about this issue we've got. First, I'd like to introduce a few folks that are here from Encore. I've got Richie Brewster. He's a supervisor over our group that does the major relocations and stuff. Anthony Gordon, he's his manager. We've got Sam Thornhill. He is the supervisor over the local design group. And then Diane Harris, who is the coordinator, I believe is the title, so she's local office here, they working. And the reason we wanted to visit with you is we've been getting some requests to move the line before y'all are ready to do the work, which is causing us to make additions to the line that are going to make it zigzag, and it's just not very cost efficient. It's not good use of our ratepayers' money to do that. Now, we love the idea of what y'all have done, where y'all are going to widen the right of way and get an easement there. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for us to do that before y'all are ready to move the road, because it's just going to increase the cost a lot of what we're spending to do that.
So you're talking about when there's a new subdivision going in and we're requiring them to move their fences back and clear the right-of-way, you want to wait later to move the poles?
Yeah, till you're actually ready to move the road, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us
Well, we
to
do
move
widen
that.
it most of the time.
If the widening is taking place, then yeah,
I think on every one of those, we make the developer pay to widen the road. So I think we're, not the whole road, but their section of it, we're requiring them to pay us to widen it.
okay, so they're gonna.
You're trying to cut down the double the work, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to have that zigzag. It's just creating more facilities. It may take, like if there was a smaller section where there was one pole that was there, but we're gonna have to set 4 poles to get around it, because we can't do the whole line.
Right.
It makes more sense when y'all are gonna widen the road. Now, if you're gonna be doing that work, then we've got to move those facilities. We're all about that. But if you're not widening the road at the time, you're just going ahead and acquiring that right of way and setting up for later on, then it makes sense for us just to wait until y'all are ready to go and then move the line over.
Well, I think most of our reasoning for getting the widening is important if we're going to have more traffic and developments
Yes,
going
sir.
in, whether it's 1 lot or 10 lots. It's
Yeah.
still,
Yes, sir.
we're getting some activity. Part of having the trees clean and all is because it's now right now we just have an easement basically is all we have.
Yes, sir.
Prescriptive right of use. So if somebody runs into a tree or a pole, we don't have any. Daniel, I'm trying not to play lawyer here. We don't have as much liability as if somebody hits, but if we have it's in our right of way dedicated and we don't have it cleared, somebody hits a tree or a pole, then we increase our liability potential.
Potentially, if it's a danger and we knew about it and we didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. So that's why we're trying to get everything out of the right of way. So we remove that potential of anybody getting hurt and then coming after the public for it.
Yes, sir.
So Larry, I just want to make sure, you're not saying you don't want to move the poles, it's just you want the timing of when we're going to do it
Yes, sir.
and marry that up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're all about, we think that's the way y'all are doing that. But if, let's just say there's a county road here where there's been 3 smaller plats done, well, and y'all are not gonna go out there, y'all are not gonna mobilize everything to go probably widen 100 feet of road or 200 feet of road. So if we could wait on that section till y'all are ready to do the road work, then that makes more sense for us and for y'all.
How,
And public.
I know you guys work in a lot of other counties. How do you coordinate that with the other counties?
Before they're gonna do like Hopkins County is doing the exact same thing y'all are doing. And what they'll do is if they're actually gonna physically do the road work and widen it, then they get with us ahead of time and we'll relocate the line. We've got one going right now, Richie's group does over there. And I think Diane has 4 projects with y'all right now, but there's one she's got where they were holding up the guy's plat for till the line is moved or something.
It's 1,600 feet.
But, and if that's gonna be widened, I mean, if that's physically gonna be done, then yeah, we would need to move it. But if y'all are not gonna widen the road yet, then it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to zigzag everything, but.
I
A
don't
lot
know.
of times, everything comes to Miss Brittany here. She's our administrative assistant. So that's, you know, she can contact us as well to see if we're gonna be, you know, widening it anytime soon, or if it's gonna be a while, and help coordinate that as well through you guys.
Yeah, and I think does all that go through you, Diane? Yeah, so Diane would be the contact for making sure we're coordinating so that the relocations are.
And on a lot of these, Larry, I think the timing need is that sometimes the lines are pretty close to the road, and in order to widen it, that we need it moved out so we can get our ditches moved and all that. So that, I'm curious,
Yeah, if you're
are
doing
you
work there,
receiving
yeah.
are you receiving these requests from the developers primarily? Are they the ones calling you? Okay. So maybe there just needs to be better coordination between y'all and us as far as whether or not, because you're right, if it's a one lot, 100 feet, that may not be something we need to worry about. But for 1,600 feet and 10 or, 11 lots, that's
And
something.
y'all are
we need to
actually
look
gonna
at.
redo the ditch, and so
Yep.
the poles are gonna be in the way, so
Yep.
that's, yeah, that needs to be moved.
Yeah, the problem with that is, we've got a line, like on 1033, we've got a line running north and south.
Mhm.
So if we only move that 1,600 feet, I've only got 5 poles.
Mhm.
But to relocate that 1,600 feet, I've got to now add 9 poles, and the 2 lots on the corners are losing quite a bit of footage. Because I got to put a pole on the property line for this people not moving in the right of way with the 30-foot down guy. Then I got to angle into his property and go 40 foot, because then I have to have another 30-foot down guy, and then I start relocating those 4 poles. So for four poles, I'm now adding 4 more poles, because I've got to dead end, jut in, because these 2 people aren't replanting. So that's part of the problem, is now I'm doing this for every 1,600 feet, and
Yeah.
it's just not.
And essentially, when the road does get widened, and we come back to do that additional work, and we're possibly relocating or removing something that we already installed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're happy to do it, but I think just the single isolated customers that come in and want to build, we're having to move them or leave them alone until y'all get ready to widen the road. Then we move.
Yeah, it could just cause, additional spending of the ratepayers' money that doesn't need to happen till the road's gonna be wide. That's the ones we're concerned about. But yeah, if there's actually gonna be road work done, then yeah, we need to get those out of the way.
What kind of notice do you need from a planning standpoint?
Defer to y'all.
Richie, what do you want, 3 months, 4 months? Yeah.
We don't do anything in a hurry,
Yeah.
so, probably minimum a couple of months.
I was thinking about all the roads that we all have planned to get done. Maybe there should be a periodic coordination meeting where you can see all the roads that are actually fixing to happen. That way it can get on your schedules as soon as possible between 4 precincts.
I think that'd be fantastic, yeah.
Would it be worthwhile for a couple of commissioners to meet with them and kind of talk about our problems, their problems, see if we can come up with some kind of a solution?
Yeah, I think so. It sounds like part of the issue may be developers, landowners reaching out to y'all, and we probably need to be more involved in that, so y'all understand what our timelines and needs and expectations are there.
Yes, sir.
Somebody want to volunteer to lead that?
I'll help out. Larry, and you know Brian
Yes.
Toole, our county development director, right? He's-
I know of it, yeah.
Okay.
I'd like-
Obviously, we tie him into a lot of this stuff as well. If he's got builders or developers coming to him, we can make sure we tie him in with you guys as
Yes,
well
sir.
to help coordinate everything.
Yes, sir.
But it seems like, communication's the big thing. Now
Yes,
that
sir.
we're all here talking about it, you got Brittany here, maybe we can coordinate this a little bit better and let you guys know if we're for sure gonna be upgrading the road or widening the road or anything like that. If we're not, then we can let you guys know that as well. Maybe that'll help
Yes, sir.
out.
That makes the most sense, yes, sir.
Judge, I'm happy to support Steve.
Okay.
I don't want to leave him unsupervised,
All right, so if y'all can reach out and get those 2 together, and they can talk about the problems both of us have, and then if y'all can work it out, you don't need to bring it back to court for a policy, but
Yes, sir.
just some new communication maybe.
I think that's great.
All
Thank
right,
you, sir.
thank you.
Anything else from you?
Not from us.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
All right, so no action necessary on this one. Action item 3, discuss and possibly take action on filling the 911 addressing GIS coordinator position. Commissioner, this kind of ties in to number 4.2 in our budget. We all know that Kathy left at the end of May. We've had 4 applicants, I think it is, 3 internally, and one of them being Carol, that started trying to learn that spot before, just as Kathy was leaving. We have an applicant that is currently working in Lubbock. She's already got her bachelor's in a Winfield, I think it was, degree, wind power, and then she's working on her master's in GIS at Texas A&M, and she's local. She's a daughter of one of our employees. She's currently working for Lubbock in a GIS position, doing addressing on top of many other GIS functions. She's wanting a little bit more money than what we were currently paying. I think, you know, for me, with my background and what all I've done with GIS and surveying and mapping, and even, I guess, zoning issues, we're about to approve the zoning for Lake Tawakoni, the new zoning, which will give us fines and fees in that new plan, or new zoning requirement policies, which we don't have now. We've had zoning down there for 20-something years, and we've never had the ability to generate revenue. It's just all been on, you know, free. We're paying for it with taxpayer dollars, so we can start charging people to ask for zoning changes and requests. But in bringing all that, then we got to change zoning maps and keep up with it, and it's going to take somebody with some skill sets similar to this applicant. And you know, if we're not, we're wasting. If we don't have that position, we're wasting our time trying to do the zoning, because we won't do a very good job with it. And since we're growing at the 5th fastest growing county in the state of Texas with the subdivisions we're having, it won't even be just there, but it'll be the mapping in and knowing how to import, export maps in and out of the different systems from either whether it's the appraisal district or from engineers that are turning in, surveyors that are turning in plats. There's ways to upload those straight in, so nobody has to read code anything or do anything except manipulate it once you get it into your system to fit your system. So my opinion is, and recommendation, it's a good opportunity to hire somebody that wants to come to Greenville, lived in Greenville, wants to come home, but well qualified. But we just need to.
Are you saying that the job's changing?
The job should be growing. If we stay with and stay with people that just learn how to hit the buttons and put the information in we have, then, you know, there's no reason to pay that kind of money for it. But I think that's a mistake by not hiring somebody that can help us grow with the growth. I think Brian's going to Kaufman this morning, couldn't be here. They're having a meeting with their community development group in Kaufman, and other counties are coming to talk about this very issue. Kaufman has 20 people in their community development department and GIS department. So does Bastrop County. They have something close to that number. I think Bastrop even has an engineer on staff in that department. So they're a comparable county. I'm not sure about Liberty. I didn't check Liberty, but Bastrop certainly is that way. Rockwall's got their own 911 system, and of course they don't have any zoning like we do, but Kaufman has a little bit like we do. I think they've got the same thing around Lake Tawakoni, so they have a little bit out into their area. But with the growth that everybody's having, it's just hard to keep up. And I think in y'all's work with the roads and all, learning how that can help y'all with your roads, where your culverts are, bridges are, having good maps that are reliable to know exactly what you got over time. I think y'all could build some good quality maps. It would be a good asset for y'all's departments. I don't know if that new program does, that y'all are using, what do you put, PubWorks. I don't know if it has any drafting in it or not, or any GIS functions in it.
Just a little bit, it does.
A little bit. I mean, if you just, like, if you can drop a pin or something, then where you were putting a culvert, they could go put that on a GIS map and y'all know where the culverts are. So it'd help, help manage things, I believe, so.
What are we advertising this position for now?
Just 911, Sandy, or?
We didn't put a dollar amount.
And we put GIS, 911 addressing, yeah.
Not a,
So they're getting a degree in GIS?
Yeah.
yes.
Well, they've already got one that's similar. She's already doing GIS work. I'm sure in her understudy of what she was studying with wind technology, you'd have to know how to operate in a GIS system.
And we're also changing systems, right? That was one of the things with Kathy's retirement was.
Yeah, she didn't want to learn the new program that's coming through with the 911 addressing, which is changing the.
So none of our
GIS.
internal folks have experience in the new system either, right?
I think
No.
Carol might have very little, but not.
Carol has taken a couple of classes since Kathy announced she was retiring, or as she was retiring, is what she told me. I don't know exactly what those were.
When would the lady or person, I'm assuming it's a lady.
It's a girl, yeah.
When would she be able to start? It didn't say is she still
I
in
think she
college?
can be here. No, she's online now with her. A&M's got online courses for their masters in GIS. So she's doing that online. So she can be here probably by the 1st of the month, close to it. So my recommendation, we're 72.5 about is what Kathy was making, what's budgeted.
72,372, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, close enough. I'd like to at least offer her 75, maybe give me room up to 80 if I have to get it, but I think that's all we need to do.
So she has experience doing it and she's degreed in it.
Yep,
And she's
we're not gonna get
already turned
anybody
down
much cheaper.
72?
Do what?
She already turned down 72?
Yes, well, no, I offered her 70 because I thought I might get her and then we could give her some raises after she got here. But she came back with 90, which is way out of our line, so that's not gonna work. She is getting a raise by coming even with my offer, so, but, she hadn't told me what she will. I can't negotiate with her until I got a limit of where I can go, so.
Would this effectively split the 911 addressing from the GIS mapping, or would
No.
you keep that kind of in the
Oh,
same?
it would just grow. It would stay the same and grow. I mean, assuming as long as Carol's here or somebody else is in that position, they'll always be doing the inputting. Somebody will be doing the inputting, but
Gotcha.
with somebody that knows the GIS can grow it to do so many other things that we currently don't do.
Sure.
And,
And we probably need would probably need a new job description, new position, so we need a new job description.
but that probably, yeah,
And that,
yeah, we'd want to expand what that job responsibility is.
This person probably be considered department head.
Yeah, but that's a discussion to take sometime. I don't know that I've prepared to make a recommendation. I think off the cuff, I think it ought to be under community development. That's what the other counties seem to be falling under. So, I haven't talked to those other counties specifically to see exactly how they're working it. I would like to do that before we get too much in line with it, but I think it makes too much sense for, them to at least be together, and probably might be best to have one department head over both of those.
Sandy, did you have something you wanted to say?
I do. Kathy is, the 911 addressing, that would be, right now, it
Is
is
a
a
department head.
department head,
Right.
but it's not an exempt employee, it's just a department head. So that position would technically be a department head.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is like,
Yeah.
we're probably potentially gonna grow this department, and this person would probably be the lead.
Yes,
over
I
that
mean, it is a department head position, so,
So Sandy, would you consider the activity the judge was talking about with the zoning changes at Lake Tawakoni as a scope change in the job?
yes,
Hmm.
definitely.
So it would justify a little bit of compensation?
And she does get a vehicle too, that she would also be, don't forget about that. But, along with her salary, she does have a vehicle that it would be a take-home
So
that
that's,
she uses
so
during the
that's
day.
leverage for the judge to not pay a lot because he's going to have a vehicle for it. I mean, honestly,
Right,
it's.
Yep.
yeah. Because she would drive that to and from work, and then whenever she is working, she uses the county vehicle, so.
Yeah, they have to go out there and do some inspections a lot of time on driveways and see how many people are using them or whatever, so. I don't know if she has to clock mileage to set the address. I think she can get all that off the map, but,
Usually off the map now. I know they used to have to do that. but
yeah,
I
they
don't
used to,
think
but I know
anymore.
now with technology, they don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, and she does work for the city of Lubbock right now, doing the same thing. So, she does have the experience. She is just getting her master's in
But
GIS.
she's doing the same thing on a larger scale, honestly. So,
Right.
Okay.
So you're wanting to have the capability of going up to 75?
75 or 80, yeah, whatever y'all.
75 or 80?
Yeah. Any other
Yeah,
questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm just trying to rationalize in my head. I think getting a degreed person with experience already doing this and with the changes in scope that we're gonna have, it's probably not unreasonable to do that. So I'll make the motion to, can we split the difference, give you the 78?
That's fine. Whatever y'all want to do.
You want to do what? How much?
Authorize him to 78, and of course, he's got the car allowance to throw in.
That's a motion?
Yep.
I'll second.
All right, got a motion second. Any other questions?
Are there adequate funding for the budget, in the budget now to cover that difference, or would you need to do an adjustment?
It's,
We might have to do an adjustment.
we may have to.
Kathy left at the end of May. We've only had June.
It's a little bit unused there, yeah,
So because
Probably gonna be close.
close, okay.
just a little bit, yeah. It wouldn't be much for the rest of the budget year.
All right.
It'll be for the next budget.
All right. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Action item 4, fiscal year 25-26 budget. Commissioner, I just wanted to start the conversations, and I don't have anything that's a hard fact or anything that's specifically asking. I wanted to talk to y'all about trends that I'm seeing, and so y'all can be thinking about ways to handle it. First, we have some suggested raises for the employees that we handed out to you, from a 3% to 5% raise. You want to run them for something less than that or more than that, we can get that done, but I wanted you at least to think about it. If you'll go to the last page.
We're just getting it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought she gave them to you earlier. Sorry. If you just flip to the last page, I'll look at the rest of it all the rest of the time. At a 3% to all employees, if it hit our budget at $544,666. Now, that's not with benefits, so of course we don't have to pay all of them, but you'll have Social Security and you'll have retirement.
Retirement, workers' comp.
workman comp, it goes away at a number, doesn't it? Used to.
Yeah, they all go by the percentage of it.
Yeah, well, it starts going away after a certain amount, I thought. Not anymore. Okay. Anyway, I mean, if you throw, if you can throw 20% on it, that bumps it up to 650. It's probably not that much. It's probably gonna be more like 15, but, just for, talking, big picture, things, and then go across the board on the different money it'd take to give those raises, and you're gonna have to add 15-20% to it to have the actual cost of what it's gonna hit our budget. So I don't have any recommendations at this time. I just know that, it's hard to read. And I mean, I spend most of my life at home watching business channels, so you can hear everything you want to hear from all different experts that all have different opinions. So I don't know what any of them, which ones are right and wrong, but, inflation is decreasing by all reports, under 2% now. But then you don't have, those 2% numbers aren't necessarily the things that are increasing that our workers and us spend our money on. Like, a lot of things, rents and food and stuff, are taken out of some of those indexes. So not sure what our true effect of increases might be out there for our employees. But it should be getting better. I know gas prices have gone down in our area, which should help all of us some, if not a lot, depending on how much you travel. It's hard to have a crystal ball and try to predict what's going to do in the future, but I don't see us. As I said here today, my recommendation probably be 3%, but that's just me, and I may change my mind when we get deeper into it, but it's going to hit us at 600,000, and so I want you to look at that. And then I think we emailed y'all the estimated ad valorem roll a few months ago, and it's what did I do with that? So they're estimating now that our taxable value this year will be $16,138,222,648. Big numbers. Last year, the estimates were $14,689,446,264. So that's about 1.5 billion more in new taxable value. But last year, from the preliminary to the final, it lowered it last year $100 million. So I don't know what it'll be this year. I don't know. I don't even know how to guess at it. I know it's probably I would guess it'd be still in that same range. So if you say we're getting $1.3 billion, call it, that would give us $3.5 to $4 million in new revenue at this year's tax rate. So, what is our game plan going to be? What's our goals to try to, make everything happen? So we just need to keep in mind we don't have that much money to do a whole lot of things, and we were getting quite a few requests for some raises. We got several wanting new employees, more staff, which means it's more money. I know we're working currently with the voters. We're having to redistrict some precincts. We got one precinct out in Caddo that the law says we're supposed to have 5,000, no more than 5,000 in one polling precinct, And we got 9,116 registered voters in it out around Caddo. And then surrounding them, they're all at like 3,500 voters. So if you take away from them even 1,000 apiece, then you're bumping 5,000 on all of them. So we're of course, the state, again, didn't do us any favors. I guess if it all passes, I think that has to go to the voters on some of that, doesn't it, on voting days. The hardest thing to do is get polling places. We're having a real difficult time. A lot of the churches aren't churches any longer. A lot of the buildings we used in the past are no longer churches. They've either built another facility or closed the church down, whatever the things have happened, but it's getting harder and harder to find them. You need something that can be, we want our voters to know where they go vote all the time. If not, they get frustrated and call and try to figure out where they got to vote. So David just happened to walk in my office when I was talking to Jeannie the other day, and he's helping us try to locate some, because we felt like the first thing we got to do is find polling places, and then we'll try to make the numbers work around it, which is going to be back to making a good argument for a GIS person. Our attorneys in Austin, they're helping us, and they got a GIS person sitting there trying to help us. So we're going to communicate back and forth, sharing data back and forth with them. If we had our own, it would make it a whole lot simpler just for this.
So Judge, you're kind of describing, as far as the redistricting on the voting locations, that there's a cost coming associated with that.
Yes, and then that means we're going to have more equipment, more employees, all of it.
So curiosity, just in general, right? As you see the information coming in, you talked about people needing more staff.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about, the redistricting. So those are all things that in my mind, I classify as out of scope, right? From our typical expenditures, or it's a shift in what we're going to have to go do.
Right.
Do we have a way to identify all of those items and put them into buckets as far as required, compliance demanded, wants, needs, desires? Can we bucket those scope changes, or at least identify them and figure out if they should be?
We can identify them as we know about them. Like I said, I didn't know about this until the other day, so it's hard to have too much of a crystal ball. But this one, we knew we had a problem with one. I just didn't realize how big it was.
Because
we've been
head
here.
count, resource needs should be tied to a change, right?
Right.
So we ought to be able to, and then justify that change is required because of the scope change.
Right. Well, we've grown one person, I think, in the voters, and they probably need another one or two down there now, but they don't have any space. But it's just, and I know this year, I think it's the November election, we can't get the Civic Center for early voting, and think we can on voting day. I think it's tied up, so we're going to do early voting in our office right now. We haven't found any other place yet that we can even do it. So again, we have our public bouncing back and forth. Of course, that's part of the Puddin Hill plan, is we'll have a place out there that can handle it. But this is a classic of the GIS will help. So because when we did these maps, we had census data, and now we don't have census data because it's past due. It's past. It's not accurate anymore. So my understanding is within our software program, the voters, they can identify how many voters are on each street or road. And I haven't gone down to look at it yet to know exactly how that works, but we apparently have the ability to do it. I don't know how labor intensive that is going to be. I need to get down there. I didn't find out about this until I think Thursday or Friday. And
So the requirement's based on the number of people in that district, not the number of voting locations in that district.
right, but the voting locations are imperative that we have one. If we go cut it up, then we don't have any place for them to vote, and then what do we do? So I think, at least my opinion was, we have to find voting spots first, and then try to figure out how to cut it up. And if we can keep some of the voting places, that we currently have, but we think we're going to have to create 3 new districts. So, you know, enlarging into some of the others and trying to keep those polling places will be, you know, a challenge, and hopefully that we can make that work. So we don't have to go find as many new ones, but we have to kind of figure out exactly how that's going to work. And we've got until basically August 1st to get this done.
So if you had three new districts, then they'd be purchasing 2 sets of equipment because we'd have one, right?
Yeah, you'd be cutting them into 3 districts, yes. You'd have two additional. If that's all we end up cutting, I mean, when you're sitting here, the adjacent ones, one of them's 3398, one's 3387, and the other one's 3488. So we really don't need to take any, we don't really need to combine those because they're already there unless we can configure a way to keep them and keep the polling place there and take some away and then so we can add some. But
Yeah, we probably really want to make sure that we do it in a way that we leave ourselves room to grow and we're not having to do it the next election again.
yeah, well, I mean, of course, we hopefully can make it until, you know, 2030 when the next census will come out. But the other hardship of this or challenge of this is 276 is a congressional line and we can't cross over it with polling places. So we got an obstacle at 276, which if we could gone across 276, we could have made this probably work a little easier, but we're stopped there. So we got to try to put 5 gallons of mud in a gallon bucket is what we're going to have to do. So, so that's, you know, another challenge going into next year. You know, we've got the DA's asking for 2 more attorneys. The constable's requesting at least 2 more over the next 5 years. We've had others wanting more part-time help, at least part-time help. I haven't been through all of them yet, so I can't tabulate it yet because I haven't looked at all of them, but we're getting there. And give you an update, hopefully in the next meeting or 2. And then, you know, for me, just, you know, philosophy of what we're going to try to do this year. You know, last year I presented a budget that was balanced. It caused an increase of a little bit, and thought that that's where, you know, public wants us to be, is a balanced budget. And we can't continue to operate in a deficit budget like we have the last 4 or 5 years. So can we have a goal that we try to make a balanced budget this year, and so that we got a better roadmap going forward? Because when you're dealing with a deficit budget all the time, it's been okay. I've explained it before, but you know, we kind of got a increase in fund balance because of COVID. We went several years, we couldn't even make our budget. So instead of increasing taxes, we tried to give it back to the public and not increasing, and we worked on a deficit budget basis. But long term, that'll break you. You can't do that long term. And I don't have any way to guesstimate this year where we're going to end up with the changes that were made late in the budget process last year. There's no way to even guesstimate where we're going to be. Concern I have now, hopefully it'll be over July 1st, but our collections are down from normal for this time of year. But I think that, you know, our tax dollars, we estimate close to 100% of taxes being collected, because we get some from the previous years every year and all. But this year I think we're at 92. The last I knew that we're at 92% collection. Now, historically, I know a lot of people wait till the end of June to pay their taxes because July 1st they get hit with a 15% penalty. So a lot of people try to pay it before they get hit with that penalty. So I'm hoping some of that money will come in. And if it does, then it may equalize it back out to where we're in pretty good shape. Our sales taxes I think are in pretty good shape. Some of our other revenues not as good as it has been for some reason, it may be seasonal, we may get it over the summer too. But we need to, in my mind, we need to, at least I need to know what the court wants to do this year. Do we want to go to a balanced budget? We're going to continue? Is there another goal that somebody wants to try to achieve? What are we trying to do? You don't have to answer today, but that was on the meeting. We've got meeting scheduled, I think, later in the month, and I just wanted to start a conversation and thought, and so we can have some better conversations as we go forward.
Judge, remind me, those meetings are next week, right? I think.
I think it's so. I think that's right.
All right.
Of course, we'll have more of them over in July too, because we'll have, I assume that those that are asking for employees, and some of them may be asking for something a little out of the norm, that have them come talk to the whole court so y'all know what's going on. But I don't know there'll be that many of them, but there's going to be some.
So, Judge, forgive the new guy. You were talking about how it's difficult to forecast kind of where some of it is between expenses and revenue.
Right.
What are we thinking the deficit looks like right now for this year?
It's hard to guess because, I mean, we ended up with what did we end up with? $2.2 million deficit, 2.273. And then we have quite a few departments that got some expenses zeroed out that are having to have money moved out of capital improvement over to it. Our fund balance, 19 million like at the end of last year, Mary. That's about right, isn't it? And we had 19 million at the end of last year. Of course, what is budgeted will be spent out of our fund balance and won't come out of capital improvement. Things that aren't budgeted will have to come out of capital improvement budgeted funds. Correct? Did I say that right?
So deficit comes out of fund balance?
Yeah.
And overruns, unplanned comes out of capital?
Comes out of contingency and capital improvement. That's where the funds come from. So not knowing, it's kind of hard to juggle between the two to know where we're going to end up at the end of the year. As we get closer, we'll have better guesses at it, but until July 1st, as soon as we get numbers in after the end of June, that should tell us a little better about where at least our ad valorem taxes will be coming in. Any questions or comments or?
Well, obviously, we know a 17% tax increase is not the way to go from last year.
Well, it wasn't a 17% tax increase. Never was a 17% tax.
I understand.
And it wasn't even a 17% increase in their value. It was an average. But I think the scariest part to me long-term, not this year's budget, but future years, I'm hearing housing is slowed way down, and there's been people having to discount to sell houses, and that will pull prices down. And if we start in a period of time where values start going the other way, it's going to make things real difficult if we don't have some reserves to get us through it. I know I've talked to a few of the realtor friends of mine, and they're saying it's just, houses are on the market longer than they've been in a long time. People are having to give concessions. Builders are buying down interest rates to sell houses, so it's the market is off considerably in Hunt County, Texas. I don't know about the rest of the country, but here, that's what I'm being told right now. So,
If we're the fifth fastest growing.
and we're the fifth fastest growing one, and we're slow, yeah.
Kaufman has slowed way down also.
Did
I'm
they?
friends with a couple of commissioners over there.
Yeah.
They're slowing way down.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing's hitting the brakes right now. It's just, they got, I get Bobby's philosophy is that, the builders, they saw an opportunity during COVID and other issues, and they started raising the prices of houses, not so much for what the housing price is going up, but they were just taking bigger profits. I mean, these builders were making huge profits. And I feel like they're trying to give these incentives by buying down interest rates and all to keep their house prices up. They give up some of their profitability by buying down interest rates, but when the market turns, they've kept the price up. How long that'll work, and if it works, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to understand that, but that's what it appears to me that's going on.
Well, but if you just use the pay raises as a conversation, right? If on the low end, you're $550,000-$600,000, and you're only looking at new money of $3 million.
Yep.
You eat that up. You take 30% of that out pretty fast.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
And
we got a 2.2 deficit budget this year. So, there's, in that, you take the raises in there, and if we try to balance it this next year, we can't do anything. We're pretty much stuck. And so again, till we get all the final numbers in and get the calculation of what our rates can even be, it makes it real hard to plan and try to do a budget when you don't even know what your revenue's gonna be. And that's not till after August 1st. So this year we need to get everything done faster than we got earlier than we did last year. And we're working towards getting it done so we can have most all of it done way earlier than August 1st, but we won't know really final until we get what our rate will be, because we won't know our revenue. But I'm cautioning us that with operating with deficit budgets and with the growth we're trying to manipulate and handle, we got to do a good job this year and make sure we get things the way we want it to be going forward.
What about if we shoot for a balanced budget and we go ahead and just run a tight ship like we normally do, but just get as tight as we can? And then once we get the revenue, what we know it is, if we don't have enough to cover it, then start making some more cuts out of that budget.
We can do that, but it's what I'm saying. If we do that, then which I'm not opposed to that. I'm just saying, if you do that, then it means you're going to have to cut the budget some probably, or you're going to have to just not have any raises, no new increases to any of the offices, and I think most all of them are, needing something. A lot of the budgets we looked at so far they hadn't asked for a whole lot different. And something it's always been, they've kind of just asked for what they've spent or what they had budgeted in years previous, and if you look at it, they do it, and then one year they meet their budget, and other 3 they don't. So it's just how they operate. It's.
That's why those places where you're seeing the increase in scope, you need to make sure that it's tied directly to an activity.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, we know voters, we're going to spend some money. And we got to get Puddin' Hill going. We got to get some space. People need more employees, and we don't have any space. I think the sheriff's asking, how many? 5 new people.
We just discussing space, I think.
You got to come to the mic, Terry.
No,
Sorry. We'll get you a portable mic back
Try
there.
not to walk, doesn't it?
I know that money's very important, and, but also, I'm gonna stand up about safety. Let's talk about, space. I think 335 beds available. This weekend, 328. 328 is how many we had in there. And this is,
335, because some are out of commission right now, and will be put back
there's a
in.
few out of commission. It's just like 340 anyway, but there's a few out of commission, which is normal
Right.
with that building,
Moving around.
moving around like it does. But we're that full, and on top of that, that means the manpower that's out here doing this, and what we're asking is just trying to put an extra man on each shift to cover this 900 square miles and one investigator. And it's not, it is money to y'all and it is money to me. I'm a taxpayer. But I also got to get my guys home at night. And we're going to continue trying to push to bring that up to where we can do that. That's my space problem is how many inmates and the criminal activity that's coming on to make sure our county is a safe place to live.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Sheriff, is that number pretty common, that ratio, 328, 300 plus, pretty common number?
Yes, it's getting very common
Yeah.
all the time. Yes.
A lot of the reports, Gary, they've always been around 300.
Right around 300.
Three,
Right around
a
300.
little bit. Sometimes when we get our reports, they're just under 300. Other times they're over 300. So somewhere in the low 300s is probably the average.
At what point, and I know theoretically the number should be 335, right? But what point do you have to start sending them somewhere else?
Depends on what day it is.
I'm going to say if we start hitting 330, pretty quick, 330, 331, I'm fixing to start looking because I cannot have something massive happen where I put 10 people in or 10 people comes in, let's go back. It ain't just me. Everybody does not understand that we house for Greenville. We house for Commerce. Everybody that's got a felony offense or over a Class C, 99% of them comes into our jail. From
City
all
or
of the,
not,
from
right?
all of the cities, yes. Everybody seems to think that the cities put their people in jail and they put them in the city. That does not happen unless it's maybe like a Class C offense, a traffic ticket or something like that. A lot of them, some of them.
Well, Greenville's only got like 2 holding cells, don't they?
Yes. So, and the cost, when you talk about cost, you're fixing to get into a massive cost when we start doing that. On top of the fact that we have to transport them to court, bring them back and forth, and,
Have more people to do that.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Terry, refresh my memory. Wasn't that designed for 368 or 78
I
or
was
something?
thinking 340 something. 343.
That's what was designed when it was built?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And just from my knowledge, the cities, do they pay you for people
No.
to go in there?
No.
You get nothing from incorporated areas?
Nope. They don't furnish any extra help or nothing. I mean, that's what we do. And I'm not fussing about that. I'm just saying that's
Yeah, but you have
that's the
room
nature of the
board,
beast.
you have room board for all criminals in the county, basically.
Correct.
Most, yes, yes. Like you said, Greenville's got a couple of holding cells. I think if you come in there for a traffic offense or something that you can sit out through the day, they'll do that. And I'm not real sure if Commerce does that. Commerce does that still a little bit. But, yes, but it's, in the, with that number raising, that also tells you, I mean, we're fighting crime to the best of our ability, but the population that's coming in is growing, and it's outgrowing our facilities very fast.
How many inmates you have over there that's waiting to go to TDC?
Man, I'd have to check that. We've,
But we have some, correct?
yeah, oh, yes. Yes, sir.
And the state didn't do us any favors on them again this year either.
No, it's used to, you got sent us TDC, you get we'd transport you down and away you went. Now, we're waiting on beds and waiting on them to tell us, go ahead and all that. Anything else?
Thanks, Sheriff.
You bet.
Now, David, the state told us that they'd reimburse us for any of them over 30 days held, any inmates that's been sentenced to the penitentiary. And And they let us charge $45 a day, I think is what they allow in the calculation. And it cost us $70, $75 a day to house them, so they pay maybe half of it reimbursement. And they also tell us they're taking care of us on indigent defense. They do send us some money, grant money, I guess it is, for indigent defense, but they're supposed to pay more towards it too over certain numbers. When you look at it in that 10-page calculation it takes to do our tax rate, last year the inmate, we got to increase the tax rate on our citizens by 10 thousandths of a cent, I think. So the state's not paying for anything. They're just letting us charge our taxpayers more money for they're not taking care of their job. And the same thing with indigent defense, except on those calculations, we got zero benefit for it. And both of those were, I think, over $300,000 that we should have been being reimbursed by the state for, but we don't get reimbursed. They just let us tax our citizens. It's a misnomer when they say they're helping us. And then they chew us out for having too much money.
Judge, I appreciate this information, and I'll take it and consider it. I look forward to our meetings next week. I think that'll help us give us some more information as well, so we can talk to department heads who are needing some more things, whether it's personnel or other things. But I'm in agreement with you, I believe, in that I think it's going to be got to be very careful, conservative this year, and probably going to need to say no to quite a few things, which is normal, but for sure it's going to be tight. And I've said before, and I think it's a good time to raise it again. I think that looking forward into the future, it would be very beneficial for us if we developed a capital improvement plan, so we have a better idea of what our future needs are, and then some of them are going to be some pretty big ticket items, and we're just discussing one of them indirectly. And so I think now's probably as good a time as ever to start that. If we just need to have a workshop or something to get that conversation going. Been looking around at what some other counties have been doing, and I think it's something we can achieve for sure. But that'll help guide our decisions both today and tomorrow, and so we're being mindful of our future needs in all of our decisions.
Well, I think for a long time we've known what the needs assessment is. We know what we need. We need a new jail. We need more space. I mean, it's obvious. We have a plan to get Puddin Hill going, and I'm probably going to bring it back to try to get it going after July 1st, and when I get a better handle on where I think our money is this year, where at least we can maybe get it started by no later than October 1st. Because we got to get that space done. We got the money, we got it allocated. We need to get that done. But once we do that, it's one we're going to be real careful this year. Daniel?
Yes.
Did you have something in executive session we need to talk about today? Or?
Yes.
Okay. So anybody got anything else on the budget before we go? Well, I hope I made myself clear on most of it, and we got to start thinking about it, and it's not just me thinking about it. I got to know what y'all want and how we're going to move forward, because we got some tough decisions to make this year.
Yeah, thank you for kicking it off and making us start having a conversation, because I think that's the starting point. So, thank you.
Daniel, what do we need to go?
Number one and two.
All right. Entertain a motion to go into executive session under items 1 and 2.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're in executive session at 11:08.
We're live.
All right, we're back in regular session. Is there anything else before the court today? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 12 o'clock. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.